Alright, cool Minigun here, just doing a 1v1 replay analysis on Shakira's Plateau. It'll be a PvP against Root ToD. So I guess we can talk about the map a little bit. Shakira's Plateau, you can really open up with anything. Stargate's fine, Blink is fine, Robo's fine, DTs every once in a while is gonna be okay too. Which is unfortunate. You can really narrow down your opponent's range a lot, just based on the map. Like on Ohana, usually you'll only see Robo or Stargate. You won't really see Blink that often because it's hard to abuse the terrain. Cloud Kingdom, you won't usually see Stargate play because Blink is so common, and so on and so on. But yeah, on the Chakras, pretty much anything is viable. At the start, I make my buildings like I'm defending a 2-gate proxy. You want to create a lot of one-space chokes, just in case your opponent is doing something like that. If your masters are higher, I would suggest you probably shouldn't scout till after core, because the only reason you need to scout is for 2-gate proxies and like cannon rushes and that sort of thing. And you won't really see those up in the higher leagues because everyone knows how to stop them. So the later you scout, the better off you'll be. In the higher leagues at least. Alright, so 13 gate, standard stuff. I'm just chrono boosting away. Gas should always be 2 after your gateway, 2 supply that is. So if you 13 gate, you want a 15 gas. 12 gate, you want a 14 gas. You want to use 3 chrono boosts on your Nexus until you scout them. If you use 4, it's pretty much impossible to hold off one of the early, 10-4 gates in those sort of chooses. Especially since you're scouting so late. So we're gonna get that core down. Just a second. On 4-player maps like Entombed, when you're not playing the MLG version at least, you could probably make an argument for scouting earlier because there are 3 positions to scout. So maybe after Pylon would be better on a 4-player map like Entombed or ToD or something. But you should probably have ToD downvoted anyway, it's a pretty bad toss map. Alright, so I like to open gas and then double gateway. It's really good for holding off 4 gates and getting early map presence. If you do scout them going 2 gas, it doesn't hurt you that much because you can just make 1 stalker and go straight into your tech. But I'm scouting him, and he's got 2 guys in each gas, and he's chrono boosting the cyber core a little bit. This could be the sign of, a 3-gate pressure. Definitely could be that, or it could just be, like a 3-stalker rush or a 5-stalker rush. So usually it does mean some sort of pressure though. But since I have 2 gateways of my own, I feel comfortable throwing up my tech already. The greater you can be PvP, the better off you'll be in most cases. It's all about cutting corners. I do see him pushing across the map, so I'm making 2 more stalkers, which I would be anyway, I just wouldn't be chrono boosting them. So I'm going to get those out as soon as possible. I'm using this probe to scout for any proxy pylons so I can determine if it's anything more than 3 stalker rush, because I should be seeing a pylon somewhere. Alright, so Blink started, chrono boosted of course. Now if I thought he was committing to the pressure, I'd be making sentries right now. But I'm pretty sure he's not committing to it. Now here I make a mistake and push out with only 2. That allows him to get the first shots off with 3 stalkers. So now he's got quite a big advantage. So I have to push up all the way up with my ramp. I have to chrono boost out stalkers, which is not what I want to be doing right now. They should be going towards Blink. So all I can do really now is just wait for the 2 stalkers and just micro the best I can. Just trying to be as cost effective as possible. That Robo should have been down before the 2 stalkers, but kind of had to get them out because I let him get the first shots off. So I mean, not a horrible trade. I mean, we both lost 2 stalkers, but he definitely got the better end, pushing into my base. Kind of screws up my build a little bit. Alright, so Blink, you want to be hitting right around when Blink finishes, normally. So you definitely want to be pushing across the map, getting your pylons set up. Usually want to cut around 24 probes or so. Alright, so I'll immediately poke up that ramp, see what he's got. Yeah, I see 5 stalkers. That immediately tells me he's going blink as well. And in blink versus blink, whoever attacks first basically loses unless the defender screws up horribly. So what do you need to defend? Well, you need cost-effective units because I'm also expanding, so I'm going to need those immortals and at least 1 sentry for Guardian Shield. I do need that observer first though, because I need to know if he expands. If he expands, then that means I can continue making probes. But if he doesn't expand, that means I need to cut probes. Because if I hold my expo, I win. So right now I'm just going to cut probes until I see if he's expo or not. Getting that sentry for Guardian Shield. Kind of lucked up with that observer right there. Now, when you're defending against a blink pressure, or maybe even a blink all-in, you're going to lose pylons. You should have them on the edge of your base. So you've got to make them in advance. Right, so I'm going to check to see if he exploded with that probe. Yeah, and yes, he did expo, so that means I can continue making probes. It's just a pressure from him. Now, the big problem with making immortals to defend, though, is he can be very abusive with Sentry Force Field. Because if he just masses stalkers and pretends to poke up in my main and then swings around and force steals the ramp, all of a sudden I've got immortals that I can't use in the battle. So you've got to be really active with observers and stay like near the middle of your ramp so you can react fast. So you can't get a force field off. So definitely can't chase because I am making immortals. Slowly add on gases. Now the tricky part is knowing when to tech. Because if he's going all in with just stalkers, and if I tech the Colossi, I die. But if he's teching to a Colossi right now, then I need to be teching the Colossi as well, or I'm going to lose as well. So just going to send another observer, get an idea of what he's doing. Add on that 4th gas. Okay, so I'm looking for gateways or signs of tech or, you know, immortals or just something to show me what he's doing. I don't see any tech yet. But I do see him making immortals, and immortals are usually the sign of passive play because they're slow, immobile units. So now I know he's not going all in with stalkers. So now I'm safe to tech, which there's that Robo Bay. Okay, also those new probes, but again, I know I'm safe to tech. Fortunately, he's doing a good job picking off observers. But you had to get that information. Alright, so you went around 18 probes on the mirror lines PvP. Don't usually want more than that. Just because it's so much easier to punish a greedy player PvP. And plus I haven't really seen what he's doing, so I haven't seen any tech at all. Other than immortals. As soon as I feel safe, I'll be adding the 2nd Robo and a Forge. So whoever has more Colossi PvP is obviously going to be the winner. But again, I don't know exactly what he's doing, so having to play a little bit safer, or I would have thrown it down by now. So sending in that extra observer. Again, he picks it off. Pretty unfortunate. I'm just gonna throw down that Robo, start looking for proxy pylons. Now this is generally a time you want to expand PvP, if it's going into a long macro game, which normally they do. So I should be expanding somewhat soon. You also want to check for his expos, because again, if you make your 3rd, and he's not making a 3rd, then you need to cut probes, because if you defend, you win. So a little skirmish in the middle, not a whole lot going on. Pretty much always want +1 attack. Okay, double Colossi being produced now. All Chronoboost goes to Colossi in the Forge. Probes really shouldn't be getting any at this point in the game. Okay, so I should be expanding soon. I've got double Colossi going constantly, so I can expand now. Now is the question, which expansion do you take? The pocket or the faraway one? I like taking the pocket one. Some people like taking the faraway one. I think it's easier to defend the pocket one. But he opted for that one, which is fine too. It's not a huge deal. So he did expand, so I can continue making probes, at least until I get to 66. 66 is the max you want PvP. Just because your expos are so much later, so your main's going to mine out really soon, and you can just transfer those to your third. So again, just chronosing out Colossi. You generally want 8 to 9 Colossi PvP. Not really sure which is best. I lean towards 8, I think. Just so you have more gas for Archons and tech. So you want to be going into Templar once your Colossi count is good and stable and you can produce constantly. And Zealots and High Templar are cheap, so you want to be adding on gateways preemptively because your money will start piling up. I'm also stopping probes around this time as well, so money is really going to start piling up. Be adding on a second forge, and also you want to add on cannons, 1 to each mineral line. It's good. These DTs start happening right about now, and I have no way to scout them, so. Okay, just continuing with upgrades. All Chronoboost is spent on forges and Colossi. Forges probably get priority now. Alright, not too much to talk about. Got some rocks, think about a fourth maybe. Although that'd be a pretty bad fourth to take actually. Okay, so Archons get priority over Zealots anytime you have the extra gas. And it's always good to mix in a Warp Prism and speed right about now. I do wish my army was positioned in like the middle of the map, already preemptively spread. It's kind of like TVT, you know, you want to hold the watchtowers, have your army already spread out and in position. Right, so I should be taking the fourth right about now as well. Right, so there it is. Again, you want to maintain watchtower control. Alright, just gonna continue chronoboosting forges. And again, DTs are starting to happen. Again, yeah, when stuff like that happens, you have to be careful not to move your army out of position. A lot of people get 1A syndrome and bring everything back for a drop or whatever. You have to leave your army in position. Okay, so we just continue upgrading. I'll start doing my own Warp Prism harass. Alright, I'm also poking in at the front, because if he's bringing his entire army back like I was talking about, I can get position over him. Just going to continue harassing. Continue poking at that front. If I see his army there, I'm just going to pull back. Again, this drop in the main hasn't been cleaned up, so just gonna keep working in there. Just keep checking at that front. I think he killed more probes with his DTs than I thought. Because I'm a little bit low on probes, I think. I don't think I'm at quite 66. That's why my gas is so high and my minimums are so low. Also partly because I'm working in Perizella. He's killing off even more probes. Badly placed cannons, as you can see. Should be in the mineral line. So he has nothing defending his fourth. Working Pure Zealot. You want to start taking the mothership as well. It's kind of game dependent though, when you tech the mothership. If your opponent is playing passive, then you can tech a little bit faster. So I did snipe his fourth. It's a huge win. Would have been a bigger win if I had more probes, but I think that pretty much just evens things. So I've got a lot of gas, so I really would like to see a lot of Archons. Now, if you look at my army composition, I have like 12 to around 12 stalkers, I guess, and those are pretty much worthless PvP late game. So if I can trade them even close to cost effectively, I want to. I want to get rid of them because they're useless late game. So that's what I'm gonna try to do here in a second. Let's use Colossi for vision. Now you have to be careful when you're throwing away this much of your army. You have to be careful that they don't just 1A you, because that is a lot of supply. I decided to target down the Nexus, and again he does start to push my way, so I'm gonna back up, bring these stalkers back for a flank. Then I'll spread my army when I'm ready to fight. Okay, Guardian Shield gets popped, we need this 1A. Now the only micro there is to do, at least for the lower league players, is just warp in. After you 1A, just warp in. So many times I'll see people over micro their Colossi and Zealots and stuff and just lose DPS because they're trying too hard, I guess. Warping in is much more cost effective than microing anything, at least in the larger battles. So I'm chasing. Whenever there's support units die, you can always chase. You have to be careful not to overextend though. So if you overextend and there's pylons and stuff right next to the battle, they get instant reinforcements, and you're losing some of your DPS on the pylons. So you have to be careful not to chase too far, unless you have a really big advantage, which I don't have a huge one. So. Alright, so I do have a mothership on the way, a lot of gas, so we can continue upgrading, continue making Archons. You also want to think about having just one High Templar, stay a High Templar for feedback on the mothership, if you don't know if he has one on the way or not. One good Vortex can really ruin a fight for you. Alright, so I probably should wait on that mothership before attacking. I'd like to see a 5th. I don't think I'm going to make a 5th. Again, gotta get that classic count back up to 8 or 9. Yes, mothership is out, so now I want to wait for 100 energy. So right now I'm just buying time for the mothership. Don't really care about minerals. Just continuing to up my Archon count and wait for that 100 energy. Probably a bad 5th to take, but at least it's going down, I guess. Okay, so upgrades just finished. Alright, I've got a Vortex ready. So I'll just head that way. So I want to feed back his mothership and then get a good vortex off. Which is probably the best vortex I could have asked for. Really. So you want to send in all your Archons, and spread out your Colossi in a line where they can shoot it as soon as everything comes out of the vortex. So now I just want to reinforce units. And that's GG. Alright, so I mean, probably not the most exciting PvP, but there's a lot of stuff you can learn, at least strategically, from that. So I guess I'll just shout out to the sponsors: Sound Blaster, Game of Gamers, Origin, QPad, PNY. There's actually a coupon you can use for Game of Gamers. It's top left of the screen, or at least it was a second ago. I believe it's Mini5, yeah, Mini5. Pretty easy to find the site, just type in Google, find it no problem. Yeah, so hopefully you enjoyed, hopefully you learned something. Hopefully I'll be doing more. Alright, thanks for watching.